Hello, I'm Maggie Carlson, and this is my 10th grade chemistry project about cheese and how I made my own goat cheese. When starting this project, I wanted to understand how cheese is made. I framed my research around the scientific-based question of what are the chemical changes that happen in milk when it becomes cheese, specifically goat cheese, and I looked into the practical application asking, how does making cheese help with the preservation of milk, and how does it preserve the nutritional value? My project connects most directly to the third enduring understanding. Chemistry can be understood and described at the macroscopic, observable level, the submicroscopic, particle level, and the symbolic level. Making connections between these three is crucial to developing true understanding of chemical phenomena. I learned about the chemical changes that take place in milk on a particle level and how this affects the cheese produced. Through my experiment making Chevre, I experienced firsthand the macroscopic evidence of these changes happening in the cheese-making process as I turned liquid milk into solid cheese. People started making cheese as a way to preserve milk. The main idea of making cheese is to separate the watery whey from the curds, which concentrates the nutrient-rich proteins and fats. Removing the water also eliminates a place for harmful bacteria to grow, while good microbes are added to further protect the milk. The type of milk, the amount of water left in the cheese, the specific bacteria added, and the length of time for which the cheese is aged allow for many different types of cheese to be made. Milk's main proteins are called casein, and they exist in globules called micelles. The casein micelles are surrounded by a protein called casein, which are hydrophilic, so the protein particles float around freely in milk. When making cheese, the enzyme rennet, or sometimes an acid, is added to the milk. The rennet removes the hydrophilic hairs from the outside of the casein molecules. Then the casein micelles are able to stick together and form the curds in the cheese. The fat globules in the milk also stick to the casein and become part of the curds. In cow's milk, the fat contains the orange pigment beta-carotene, which comes from cows eating grass. The other particles in the milk usually scatter the light and make the milk appear white, but when the fat is concentrated, the beta-carotene can be seen more clearly, which is why some cheese has a slight yellow hue. However, goat's milk doesn't have the same pigment and therefore appears white in its cheese and milk state. The water and anything else in the milk that doesn't stick to the casein forms the liquid whey, which is drained away from the cheese. An added bonus of the process by which cheese is made is that the bacteria introduced convert lactose into lactic acid, meaning if the cheese is aged long enough, people who are lactose intolerant can usually eat it. Cooking has always been something that's important in my family. Both of my parents are pretty great cooks, and even when we're busy with work and school, we always try to eat dinner together as a family. I also really enjoy cooking when I have the time. I decided to make Chevre, a type of fresh goat cheese, because it's my favorite type of goat cheese and it's a quick process to make. I made the Chevre by heating a gallon of goat's milk in a large pot over low heat. The milk started at 40 degrees Fahrenheit and heated about 1 degree per minute for 50 minutes until it reached 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I stirred the packet of rennet and starter culture into the milk and left it to sit for 12 hours. After this time, the whey had mostly separated from the curds, so I scooped them into cheesecloth and drained the curds for another 13 hours. I then removed the resulting cheese from the cheesecloth and refrigerated it. I also tasted it to make sure the Chevre was edible. Here are my detailed materials and methods for the experiment.
Lots of great music and, well,
Interesting. In summary, cheese is made by introducing good microbes and separating the curds from the whey as a way to preserve the nutritional content of milk. And it's quite tasty. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you like the cheese.